Hey everybody, my name is Mike Hagan. I'm here today to talk to you about the SpyderCUBE. And the SpyderCUBE is part of the Datacolor Spyder Pro kit, all right? Or the Capture Pro kit. And this little tool is called the SpyderCUBE. I'm gonna show you how we use that in the studio and outside. So you can set your white balance, you can set your white points, you can set your shadows, and you can set your black points. Additionally, I wanna show you how you can use this little sphere on top to help understand what the catch lights are going to look like in your model's eyes. All right, so first of all, a little bit of context. This SpyderCUBE you can buy independently from Datacolor. Recently though, Datacolor has produced this kit of 4 tools for photographers, and this is one of those 4 tools. So you've got the cube here, you've got the SpyderCHECKR here, and we'll go through that in a separate video. You also have a screen calibration tool, which is the SpyderX Elite, and then we have a lens calibration tool for checking the autofocus on your lens. So for this scenario, we're gonna talk about the SpyderCUBE. Before I get into it and show you how we actually take pictures, I just want to point out the different elements of it. The first is there's this gray area on the top. That area we're gonna use for setting your white balance, all right? You've got the white areas here. Those are used to make sure that we don't blow out the highlights in the scene. And you're gonna use this, by the way, in Lightroom after the fact. You're gonna be able to set your white points, gonna set your gray point, and set your black point. Down here, we're gonna use this section for setting the shadows. And then here, this hole, kind of this void, this hole is used for setting the black point. On the bottom, we have a 1/4 by 20 thread, and you can mount that on a tripod. And then on the top, we have a sphere, and that sphere we can use to help understand where the light's coming from, what the highlights are going to be in the eye, you know, for your catch lights, also any reflection off the person's forehead if they happen to have no hair, which our model Alicia today does happen to have hair, so we won't really be worrying about that. All right, so Alicia, I'm going to have you hold that real quick for me. I'm going to pull this stuff offset, and then we're going to start taking pictures. I'll explain how we use it. All right, well now let me talk about how you use the SpyderCUBE when setting up your photo shoot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Alicia hold this, and basically you should have your model hold it on the base on the bottom, pointing the circle on the SpyderCUBE towards the lens of the camera, and then also vertically. So you want to be able to see the gray areas on top and the white areas on top. All right, and then we're going to have the model hold it near their face. Great. Now what we do is we take a photo with the SpyderCUBE in the photo, all right? You don't even really need the model to be in scene for this to happen. All you really need for this all to work is to have the image of the SpyderCUBE by itself. So now we'll take that photo with the SpyderCUBE. And as I'm taking it, I'm at f11, I'm at f16, ISO 100, and 1/200th of a second. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Now that photo, we're not going to actually use that photo. I mean, I'm not going to print it out for her, but we are going to use it in Lightroom or Camera Raw or any of our imaging software so that we can judge the highlights and the shadows. And I'll show you how we do that later in Lightroom. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring the more shoulder towards me. Great. And we're going to take your elbows and bring them in like this. Okay. And again. Okay, those are looking good. Go ahead and turn the other shoulder. Oh, that's a great smile right there. Super. Love it. Nice tight headshot here. A little bit longer. Nice smile. All right, those are looking great. Good, you respond really well. This is fantastic. You can smile. Nice big smile now. All right, cool. All right, so that's a wrap in the studio. Let's go outside. I'll show you how to use the SpyderCUBE in an outdoor photo scenario as well. We're outside now, and I want to show you how to use the SpyderCUBE on location in a natural light scenario. What I've got is somewhat of a cloudy day. I've got a reflector over here. We're sitting on the porch, the front porch of a house, and we're going to use a SpyderCUBE to help us set our white balance and our shadows and our highlights. Also, I'm going to show you how to use that sphere on top to manage catch lights and reflections. All right, so go ahead and hold that up. Point that circle right towards me. Good. I just want to make sure that I can see the gray area, the white area here, the black in the bottom, and then that I will actually have a nice opportunity to click on in my software the circle here so I can get the black point in the photo. Again, we're going to take our picture with that in frame. So I'll do that now. Cool. And that photo won't actually be used for anything other than checking our colors and our white balance. Now I'll just put this in my pocket and now we'll take some pictures. All right, Alicia, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Okay, right here in the camera, 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. Super. So we've changed the lighting around a little bit, and I don't think it's really going to impact the way that the SpyderCUBE was used. However, I'm going to do another one. Go ahead and hold that up again. And this time what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the sphere on top, and I'm just judging, am I getting a nice catch light? Also in software later on, I can use that sphere to help judge the specular highlights and determine when I'm adjusting my highlight slider down or my white slider, how good of a job is it basically doing in bringing back detail in those blown areas. All right, so let's go ahead and point that right there. Hold it back a little bit closer to your face. Great. And we'll take another shot. Ah, got your eyes closed. Perfect. And now for real. These are for real shots. Love it. Nice smile. Super. And let's just do one with you kind of gazing off into the ether, thinking about life. All right, serious, a little more serious. And same look on your face, but look at the camera. Chin down a bit. Yeah. Now straight into the camera. Oh, I like that. Tilt the head this way a bit. Yeah. All right, that's a wrap out here in the field. Let's go into Lightroom and show you how to process the photos using software. We're back at the computer now, and I've got all my photos loaded into Lightroom. We've used the SpyderCUBE in the field, both in the studio and outside under ambient lighting conditions. Let me show you how we use that to set our white balance and our highlights and shadows. So we'll start with the one that we took inside the studio here, right, this photo. I'm just going to open that up, and you can see I'm going to zoom in here, and if we look at the SpyderCUBE by itself, you'll notice that we've got the black zone, which is the hole inside of there. We've got the shadow area, which is this dark face. We've got the grays, and then of course we have the whites. Now you can use the histogram inside of Lightroom. I'm in the develop pane now. Go over here to the histogram, you can see that down underneath wherever you put your mouse, there is an RGB value. Those RGB values help us set the black points, the white points, and the gray points, or the neutral points. Now this circle inside of the SpyderCUBE should be right around 0%, maybe even 1% overall. So you can see as I hover my mouse over that circle, we are indeed down at like 0.2% RGB, and those are luminance values or brightness values from 0 to 100. It's a little bit dark for me. If we look at the shadows here, you can see the shadow region. I am around 1.3, 1.4. Again, that's a little bit dark. So what do I want to do? Well, I want to increase it overall. So I am going to use the exposure slider just to increase it a little bit. Bring my mouse back out here, and now you can see my shadows are in the 1 to 1.4, 1.5%. Still maybe a little bit dark, so I'll increase the overall brightness a little bit more until I get to maybe 2 to 3%. I can also go down here into my shadow slider and increase that, right? So I can increase that up. In fact, I think I will go to about maybe plus 18, 19, somewhere in that range. Now I'm around 2% for my shadows. All right. If I go over to the circle or the black point here, I am still around 0.6, 0.7. I'm happy with that. Now let's go over here. Let's do our white balance. I can move my, I can type the letter W for the white balance tool, or I can go over here and click on my white balance tool. Either way works. Now I bring that out, I click on that gray, and let's watch the overall photo change. And you can see it reduced some of the warmth out of that image. So it was a little bit warm overall. Finally, I'm going to go down here to my whites area and just make sure that I'm not blown out. You generally want those whites to be around 94, 95, maybe even 96%. and you can see I'm around 92. So my whites probably need to come up just a little bit, maybe just a tad, but I don't want to go up too high. And the reason why is if you look here on her cheek, you'll notice that I will have blown out some skin. I'll lose some detail in the skin if I go much higher than that. So let's just see what happens as I move this highlight slider up. Yeah, that's probably the wrong move because I am losing detail on her face. So I'm just gonna leave it good right where it's at. Notice that the cube is on the opposite side of her face from where the light was, or from where that key light was. So there is some light fall off, right? You've heard of the inverse square law. So that cube, maybe what I should have done is put it a little bit closer to her face. That would have given me a better white point to deal with. So I'm gonna call this good for now. Now remember what I've done. I've set my shadows, I've set my black point, I've also set my white balance, and I've set my highlights or my whites. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy those settings by just typing Command or Control C on my keyboard. Copy settings, there we go. I wanna copy just about everything that's what I'll call a global adjustment. Now what I'm going to do is go over to where I started taking photos of Alicia. So here's an image that we took of Alicia. Now I'm just going to paste. I can click the paste button in the lower left-hand corner here, click. And I would say, well, they're close. That imagery, this monitor that I have is a little bit bright overall. I know that. It's an uncalibrated monitor. I have another monitor you can see over here on the right side that is calibrated. So if I move this over to the right side, I have a feeling that that highlight information on her cheek will be just fine. But for right here, it looks a little bit too bright. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to bring down the highlights a bit. There we go. And now I'll recopy the settings from there, hit copy, and go back to another image, and I will hit paste again, Command V or Control V. Super. And now for grins and giggles, let's crop this. I'm gonna crop it so that I get a nice tight shot overall. Great. And now let's compare on this photo. Let me get rid of all the clutter on the sides. Now you can see the photo on the left is the one that is untouched by all of the calibration stuff that we did with the SpyderCUBE. The photo on the right has been white balanced and white pointed and black pointed and all that good stuff. You can see the one on the right looks a lot better. So here is an indoor shot or a studio shot using the SpyderCUBE. Well, let's go take a look at that outdoor shot that we did and basically do the same thing. Here is our outdoor photo, and I'll go into the develop pane here. Using the same general approach, I will hover over that with my mouse, looking at my shadow detail and my highlight detail. So you don't necessarily have to start with the highlights. You don't necessarily have to start with the shadows. Sometimes I like to actually start with the white balance because that at least gets my colors correct. So we'll do that first. Type the letter W, click on the gray, bingo, and it looks like when I did that, it looks like the photo was a little bit cool overall, so it added some warmth back in that. Now I will go hover over the highlights, and I'm looking to make sure that I'm not too close to 100, and I am. I can see here that I'm at about 98%, and I really want those whites overall to be around 96%, maybe 95%, so that I know that I have detail in those highlights. So I'm gonna actually decrease my highlights and maybe even my whites just a little bit. Go back and remeasure. Now I'm around 96%. And as I do that, you see I've regained some detail on the top of her cheek. So that's fantastic. Now we'll go here into the shadows. Let's go to the shadow region, this area. I need to be around 5–6% overall. I'm about 7, so I want to take my blacks and my shadows down just a little bit. Maybe I'll just hit my shadow slider there. All right, cool. Now I'm around 5%. I'm happy with that. Now let's go check the black point. That's in the middle of the SpyderCUBE. And with that black point, it says I'm about 0.5%. I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to show you the before and after. So I click the before button. There we go. And the after button. Before, after. And then let's compare those two. The one on the left is before. You can see, actually I said before it was a little bit blue. It actually looks like there's a little bit of yellow in there that I got rid of. The one on the right is the more natural color, as well as it has the white points and the black points and the grays all set. So now I'm good with that. Let's go back and copy those settings, Command C or Control C if you're on a Windows machine. Now that we've copied those settings, let's go find some other images that we can paste them onto. Something maybe here towards the end. She doesn't look too happy in that photo. Let's get a nice smile maybe. Well, she was serious there at the end. We'll pick this one. I'll hit paste, Command V. On there, we'll hit this one, Command V. And you can see it was subtle but significant. And that's what a lot of photo editing and photo post-processing is all subtle overall. So that's using the SpyderCUBE in your photography. Basically, you're going to use it to set your white point, set your black point, set your shadows, and set your white balance. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, go ahead and comment down below. I'll get back to you right away. I promise you that. And then I would love it if you subscribe to our channel. You can hit the subscribe button down below and even the bell button if you want to be notified when we have new videos, which we do produce about 1 new video every single week. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.